Oh, hello. I guess I'm live on YouTube. Thanks everybody who subscribed because I'm able to go live now, which I think is so much better for me than having to record stuff. I don't want videos of myself like talking about stuff, just hanging out on my phone because I just commented on one of my posts in my motherhood group on Facebook about this, but I feel like it's a family cell phone now. Of course, my husband has a cell phone and he's usually at his work. And my 13-year-old has a cell phone, but it's like an old school flip phone. So she honestly barely ever carries it around. I wonder why we even got it for her sometimes. I'm like, like right now she's in Girl Scouts and it'd be nice if she had the phone because I really have to pee and I can't get in the building. And I could call her and be like, can you let me in so I can go pee? But anyways, I'm sitting in the car while my old two kids are at Girl Scouts, and she does not have her phone because, well, one of the nice things about it, it's an old school flip phone and she doesn't really get like super attached to it because there's no social media on there and there's no like really fun things to do. It's basically you can call and text. So anyways, my phone, however, it has turned into like me and my kids' phone because they're always using it for music, to take pictures, they're looking stuff up. Sometimes they're playing Roblox on there in various situations. And so I often do not have my phone and I do not want them ever like watching videos of me because I'm usually talking about them. So anyways, I wanted to come on today and talk about a couple things. I guess having to do with performing for people and being afraid of like, what if we can't perform? And I think I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I had a really crazy example of this today. And I guess in my head, and maybe most moms do this, I've connected like how my kids do in general in life with like maybe my identity or maybe how well I'm doing. And I think that's probably normal, but it's really uncomfortable and it's not very helpful or true. And so I'm kind of like dissolving that, which feels really scary actually. It feels like I'm just on this like roller coaster ride. I'm nothing to hold on to and I'm just like free falling because I was so attached to like, I know I'm doing the right thing because my kids are doing whatever, or my kids are being this way, or my kids are doing this. And so that means that I'm okay and I'm doing the right thing. Whatever the right thing is to me at that time. Like over the past like 5 to 10 years, I feel like I've had a huge change in what I think the right thing is. And I'm opening up so much and realizing there is no right thing. It's like something that's changing all the time for everyone. So there never can be like one right thing. That doesn't even make any sense anymore. Anyways, dissolving this belief that we have to perform, we have to act and behave a certain way to be loved, and everything is all tied together with this, right? So I took my kids out of school. It was about 3 years ago, and I knew I was doing the right thing at the time. I knew, for number one, they were sick of masking every day for 8 hours a day. It was during that crazy COVID time, and they were sick of the social distancing, and they were at a new school because we had just moved. And so they were in a new school with basically a bunch of strangers that they didn't know, and they were having to mask. And so it was like super hard to make friends and like feel connected with people. And my older girl, who was like in 4th grade at the time, she's in 7th now, but she was in 4th grade, and it was plain to see that it was really affecting her, and she was becoming more and more anxious and fearful of talking to adults, which if you know my daughter, she normally has no fear of talking to anybody. So I knew she needed a break, and among all the crazy things that were going on, so I was kind of like, okay, well, we're going to take a break from school. And even though I knew I was doing the right thing, it's like society, for me, like different people in my family like make me feel like maybe I'm not doing the right thing, or like they're questioning it. And it was a new thing that I did, so I didn't have any anything to go on other than I knew it was a thing that you could do. I didn't know anything much else at the time. So it was easy for me to slip into like, oh my God, I'm doing the wrong thing. Oh my God, what the hell am I doing? But we still continued to do it. And the funny thing is, like when my oldest, when I pulled her out, she was so like over it. She was so over everything that had to do with school that she would like, during the first year of homeschool, like we unschooled basically the first, for the whole time. But there's something called deschooling is what I meant to say. Deschooling is like understanding that when you do homeschool, you're not just doing school at home. You're not spending 8 hours sitting down doing lessons at home. Like you, it's completely different. It's just, so you have to retrain your brain to think like, okay, this isn't going to look like what school looked like. This is going to look different. Anyways, so we had to do deschooling for a while, you know, to kind of get our brains reoriented. And so I think it was at the end of the first year of homeschooling that I finally was like, oh, you know, let's print some worksheets and, you know, try to do some formal traditional type of schoolwork, right? Like my oldest would legit burst into tears, like trying to do a worksheet, like just burst into tears, wanted nothing to do with it, wanted nothing to do with anything that reminded her of school. And it was either me or her therapist that suggested like writing or journaling when she was like going through a lot of anxiety and stuff. And she was like, nope, I will not journal. I will not write, because during school in 4th grade, every single day they were forced, she always likes to say, I was forced to write every single day in a journal, like free writing. Like they would give them a prompt and say, what did you do this weekend? Write about it, you know, and they would have to sit there and write for like maybe 20 minutes or something. So she has, I think we still have it, and it's cool to look at. And, but she grew to really hate writing because she felt like she was forced, and reading. She was just kind of like, nope, nope, and nope, and just completely against it, right? So it took like 2 years. And we did unschooling, which is an amazing option that you could look into if you're interested in homeschooling, and if your kids are like extremely like against anything, like don't try to teach me anything, you know, very rebellious. Unschooling is learning through experiences. So you go on field trips as much as you can, you go to libraries as much as you can, you go to different activities and things that are not like traditional lecture or sit down and learn type of things, but they do end up learning. And they naturally are curious. So they'll ask like, oh, well, what about this animal and what do they do? And so then you look up stuff about that, and they do end up reading. They do end up doing things that they would do, but it's not like you have to do this, right? But anyways, 2 years after she was pulled out of school, my oldest up and wrote like a book. Like she wrote like she took a notebook and she wrote a whole story, like chapters and everything, right? And it was really good. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, like she, after not having to do it for 2 years, she just did it because she wanted to. And she's writing another one. She's like on fire with, like, she's writing like literally every night before bed. She's in her bed like writing. And that just blows my mind because it's just amazing. Like, you know, I grew up thinking like you have to force kids to do stuff. Like they're not just gonna do stuff, you know? And when I say stuff, I mean like what we think that they should do, right? It turns out they will. They'll do. It might not be what we want them to or what we think they should, but they will do what they want to do to accomplish a goal. She really wanted to write a book. She had this in her head. She wanted to get on paper, so she did it, right? So it's going to look different for every kid, but that was really cool to me that she did that after completely being against it for 2 years. Anyways, back to me being in my head and being scared that I was doing the wrong thing. So the same child has brought it full circle now because she wants to go back to school next year, to a performing arts school. And I talked about this in the last video. So cue triggering all of my fears, all of my, oh shit, you know, now she's gonna be behind all the other kids. Now she's gonna be, what is gonna happen, because she's been unschooling, and oh my God, all these things go through my head. I ruined her life. This is terrible. Why did I do this? Right. So I started her on cyber school so that she could kind of just see where she was, and turns out she had like a tiny bit of catching up to do, but she's fine and she understands what's going on, and she's getting really good grades, and it's like, oh, what was I worried about, right? But still, back in the back of my head, there must have been a niggling fear, because today we were busy today. We were doing a lot of stuff today. We were driving around, and I just saw an email go by on my phone, and it was like from the cyber school, and it was her English teacher, and it was like, oh, I just wanted to talk. I saw the subject was like, talk to you about Izzy's ELA placement or something. And I was just in one of those moods, that it was like, oh God, I saw that subject line and I just got triggered, and I was like, oh God, she's going to say that she's not at 7th grade level, and she needs whatever. My head started going and going and going. All back to those old fears, like, I ruined her life. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. She's going to hate me. Whatever, all those things, right? And it felt really intense in my body. Like, I was like, I could feel this like energy like moving through me, and I was just like, oh God, this feels awful. It was kind of like maybe shame or guilt, and I think it was probably like a collection of things that just needed to be like released. That was just all in this perfect storm of this email. Well, the thing was, I couldn't open the email because I was driving. They were using my phone for music, and I didn't want to actually open it anyways, because what if it did say that, and then I would have been like, in my head about it for the rest of the day. So I wanted to wait until I got home and the kids were settled, and then I would look at that email. And anyways, so I went through all that stress. I got home, I opened the email, and it says like, Izzy's doing so well in ELA that I think she should go to advanced ELA placement next year. Oh my God, like complete opposite of what I thought it was going to say. And then I was really proud of her, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And at the same time, I was like, why do I care? Like, I want to care. I want to say I'm proud of you, but I don't want to care that much that it stressed me out so much that she might have said the opposite. She might have said, oh, hey, Izzy needs to catch up. So what? Like, who cares? Like, even if she did need to catch up, great. We found that out. That's awesome. Now we can take steps to do that. Like, it's just so interesting what we do in our heads. And so I wanted to share that and just be open with that, because, as a mom, maybe you don't talk about these things, or maybe other people around you don't talk about these things, but I want to talk about it because I want us to know that we're all the same. Like, we're all the same. We're all doing these things in our heads, and we're all sometimes thinking the worst, and we're thinking that it's all our fault and our kids are ruined because of us. And oh my God, it shows up in little and big ways. Today was just a big impactful way for me to see that I was still doing that. And I may still always do that. I mean, maybe that's just a mom thing, but I'm going to learn to let it go easier and not be like so bogged down in it. That's my goal. But yeah, the performance thing, it's like it's hard to let go of, because this is really weird. When I think about like not that nobody cares, but when I think about like nobody's watching me or judging me, or there's nobody to say, hey, look at what I'm doing. Am I doing this right? When I feel like I don't have that, I feel like I'm free falling. And it's so weird. And I think it's something that I'm working through. And if you are too, like, leave a comment. Like, it's like, I don't want to have someone that I have to report to. I don't want to have someone looking over my shoulder, or someone that I have to call and say like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Is that okay? I don't want to have that. But I always thought that I needed to have that. And the fact that I'm realizing that I don't need to have that, and literally I'm the authority of my own life, just sounds so simple and like duh. But apparently I'm having this huge tantrum inside about it because I'm like, I don't understand how to be without having to ask for permission or bounce something off of someone, which of course you can do, but like I'm having this big realization about like I am the authority of my life and nobody else can tell me how I'm doing in my life and how my kids are doing. I mean, I've spent literally nearly every single minute with them for the past 3 years. And if anyone else is going to tell me how they're doing, like, no, you don't. No, you don't know how they're doing, really. I mean, even like the cyber school teachers, like, they don't know how like giddy proud I am of my kids for like doing what they're doing. Like it may not be a big deal to them. Well, Izzy's teacher called her out that way, but like Ava and Zach, they don't have, Ava and Zach, well, Zach's very little, but Ava is hilarious because she only went to kindergarten. She doesn't, and it's definitely also her personality, but she doesn't have that, I don't know what to call it, something that you learn when you go to school that you must please the teacher, you must do what the teacher says, or you will get in trouble. You see other kids get in trouble, you know that there's punishment and there's, you know, things that happen to kids who don't do what the teacher says, not to mention like the grading system. And if you don't get a good grade, that doesn't feel good. And there's a lot of like guilt and stuff flying around, you know, that some kids don't pick up on at all and don't care about. And kids like Izzy and me, we really picked up on that and we really like latched onto that. And we thought, and we saw other kids get in trouble and we got in trouble a couple times and we were like, oh, heck no, like that is never happening to us again. We are always going to do everything. We're going to go above and beyond to make sure that we don't get in trouble, right? So Izzy's like that. Ava is like the opposite. She could care less. She likes doing her work, but she could give a, excuse my language, she could give a fuck if she did a good job. She does not care. And it's really refreshing. You know, it's really cool and good. I think that she doesn't care. That may be a challenge at times, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because she hasn't, you know, been through the other grades or it's just how she is and she would be that way anyways. Who knows? But I could use a little of that in my life, let me tell you. So I will enjoy that while it lasts. Anyways, thank you for watching if you watched, and please comment. Let's be together and real with each other and know that we're not alone, and be honest and let it all out there, or just comment and say cool video or whatever. So anyways, thanks guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye.